What's up? Psychotic! Ultra-violence!
Oh, gross!
Hammer time!
I gotta get out of here.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to...
Well, that's enough of that. Time for something a little more refined. Welcome to Pipshire, a fictional countryside village which is the setting for the first game to be released by developers Hawkshaw Studios. The game is called Letter Vetter. It's a straightforward premise. You take on the role of a junior Secret Service agent working for the British government. Your job is to help catch war criminals by intercepting mail going in and out of Pipshire and forwarding any suspicious-looking correspondence to your superior, known only as L. Over the course of a 50-day season, you have the task of prying into the lives of an eclectic mix of characters in an effort to root out those that are up to no good. I began the game and stared at the desk in front of me, the sounds of the countryside in my ears. I imagined sitting in the back room of a local post office building, a gentle spring breeze carrying the birdsong through a half-opened window. I should make a cup of tea. I returned to my desk and looked at the first letter in front of me. It just said Junior on the envelope. It was from L. I immediately imagined Sean Connery as an older James Bond who had taken on a less physically demanding role in the Secret Service.
Junior!
L's letter gave a brief overview of the situation and the game controls before wishing me luck with my assignment. I took a sip of tea and began opening letters. To be honest, I had no idea what I was looking for. What would I consider suspicious? A strange request? An odd meeting place? Perhaps a German-sounding name? God, my first day in the field and I was already racially profiling. It then occurred to me that I didn't actually know what year it was or indeed who the enemy was working for. I decided it didn't matter. For Crown and Country. It surprised me how quickly I became interested in certain characters. Not in a mistrustful way. I was just curious to see how the events of their lives would unfold. Some were funny, some were touching, and others downright bizarre. The days went by and I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. I'd forward letters to L only to receive a dismissive response. I wasn't sure where I was going wrong. What was I missing? And towards the end of my placement I got a lead. I'd cracked the code. I excitedly forwarded the letter to L. Another unenthusiastic response. But I persisted. I continued forwarding letters from these individuals, their code broken. They were just asking to be caught. I wasn't sure at what point L would move in on these scallywags, but I was sure I'd provided enough evidence. It got to the end of the season, and I pictured myself returning to HQ, walking into the office where L would shake my hand and say,
"You're a winner. We appreciate you. We thank you. Congratulations."
I opened the final letter from L. Nothing. We'd flushed out nobody. I was disheartened. I thought to myself, well, you did your best. And although L's letter was courteous and professional, I could hear his disappointed voice in my head.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Personally, I think you're a fucking idiot.
I'm not an idiot. I cracked their code. They were literally talking about what would happen to them if they got caught. And you didn't think that was enough to warrant an investigation? My disappointment quickly turned to frustration.
I work with retards.
I threw off my detective hat and I put on my games journalist hat to write a review. Not really. I knew I had those rapscallions banged to rights, and damned if I was going to let the fair folk of Pipshire down. I made another cup of tea and returned to my desk. It was during my second playthrough that I learned that L would and does apprehend the scoundrels of Pipshire before the season is over. This would be my first tip when playing the game. Stand by your suspicions. Don't let L dissuade you from pursuing particular individuals, just because he or she doesn't see it. Keep forwarding those letters. My total playtime clocked in at around 8 hours to catch everybody and complete all achievements. This took 3 full playthroughs, the first playthrough taking around 4.5 hours, not including time to make tea. Subsequent playthroughs can be made a lot shorter by using the reject correspondence option, if you're absolutely sure that somebody is innocent. My final gameplay tip is to exit to title screen if you ever change your mind about a letter you've chosen to forward. You can only forward 2 letters per day, and once you've selected them you cannot take them back. However, if you exit the game before the day is over, you can continue the game and the day will reset, allowing you to select different letters. I enjoyed my time with Letter Vetter. Though the game is simple in terms of both gameplay and presentation, there is still enough here to let you wrap yourself up in its little world. The Uncluttered Interface forces you to focus on the letters in front of you, but it's this simplicity that gives the imagination space to picture the characters through the small windows you have into their lives. My favourite aspect of the game is the way it settles you into Pipshire's laid-back way of life, from the relaxing melodic music and the accompanying countryside ambience, to the speed at which letters are opened, and the charming pictures with their sleepy transitions at the end of each day. The game invites you into its languid setting and encourages you to take your time. By its nature, the game doesn't have much in the way of replay value once you've worked out who all the bad apples are. How long this takes is obviously going to depend on the player's savvy. Some people may get them all in one go, others, like me, may take a few more tries. Hell, I can't even work out what L stands for. Congratulations to Hawkshaw Studios on their first release. It's clear that a lot of thought was put into the game, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next. Letter Vetter is out now on Steam. First thing to do is boil some water. Always use fresh water, never reboil water. Put a tea bag in a cup or mug, I prefer a mug, and pour the boiling water in. Don't leave it to stew for a few minutes, as this often leaves an oily film on the surface. This in turn can cause bubbles to appear on the surface when you pour the milk in, and it'll look like somebody's spat in it. Just stir the tea bag and press it against the side of the mug a couple of times. Then add your preferred amount of sugar and stir, followed by your preferred amount of milk, and stir again. The colour should be consistent and the sweetness evenly distributed throughout the tea, not in one sickly hit at the bottom. Under no circumstances should the milk and the sugar be put in the cup or mug with the tea bag before the boiling water is added. Enjoy.